Hello, I'm Jashykins, and welcome to my review of another elementary episode, A Landmark Story. And the real point of this episode, at least to me, was the fact that Moriarty is brought much more to the forefront. I mean, he's still in the background throughout the majority of the episode, but it's like we heard about him a few episodes back, and finally he's being mentioned again as this big, bad, evil person who's on par with Sherlock and can manipulate Sherlock into, long story short, having one of Moriarty's former employees killed. And it was, what I mean by getting someone killed was that they think they found a killer, and then through him they find someone else who they're like, okay, you're the killer. And they're like, no, and I think the black guy, I'm sorry that I don't remember his name and is referring to him as the black guy. I'm so fucking sorry if that offends anyone. What I'm even more sorry about is what I'm going to say in a few seconds. Because the black guy is like it seems like he's going to go on a big bragging spree to Sherlock, or at least give Sherlock some information, and then the black guy is killed. And so the black guy is killed, and so Sherlock receives another sort of encrypted text and then takes it to the guy they caught first off, and he's like, oh, that's a code we've never used, I don't know what it says. So then they go to prison again to get Moran to translate the code, and Moran's like, oh, we've never used this before. And they had, and Sherlock realizes too late. It's like, calls up the main police guy, and fucking hell, let's see, I have a list of characters here. Let me never use this again. But Gregson, I think it's Gregson, and Sherlock calls up Gregson and is like, hey, be careful of Moran, he is probably going to try to kill himself. And Gregson's like, basically like, I'm sorry that you called a few seconds too late, he's probably not going to survive the evening. Thanks for the call though, how are you doing? Sorry, I love paraphrasing shit. I think that's the only reason I got through college. But yeah, that's sort of what happens. But Moran's death scene was very well done, because they had Moran singing a nice somber tune, and that on itself is creepy. And then at the same time that's happening, you're seeing Sherlock and Watson figure out what's really happening in the code. And Moriarty basically told Moran, you can either kill yourself, find some way to die, or your sister dies. And so he ends up killing himself, and how these things are just juxtaposed on each other, it is beautiful. It is, I think, the best scene in the episode. It's very well done. The tones from both parts complement each other, have the atmosphere. It was just beautiful. Wonderful. It was awesome. Music, the atmosphere. It was good. And yeah, Sherlock actually went to see Moran earlier in the episode, and Moran sort of pointed about Moriarty. And Moriarty actually calls Sherlock at the end of the episode. And like, hey, how you doing? And, well, you know, I'll tell you all the shit you want to know. You just do this one thing for me. Episode ends. Yeah, the whole episode itself, though, began when this one guy was killing these people. I liked it. Well, let's start off with the guy kills someone by making their pacemaker go off and basically boil their blood. And that led to a great scene. I mean, besides showing that death, because that was pretty damn creepy and just awesome, you know. And I can kill you by pressing the button. But anyways, Sherlock and Watson decide to, get the body at the morgue because it's all Sherlock's idea. And Sherlock decides we need to do an autopsy. And he keeps on trying to get Watson to hold the scalpel and, do the autopsy herself because, she's a doctor. And it's great. Watson keeps on going, no, no, no. And Sherlock keeps on holding it, and like the moment before he decides, okay, I have to do this myself. It's like, because he's sort of like, why is she saying? And I think he actually could have done a much better job when he started off the autopsy. But I think he just wanted Watson to do it, so he's like, I'm just doing a crappy job to piss her off, so she'd be like, okay, fine, I'll do it, because that's what she eventually did. That's probably just my headcanon, but feel free to use. And the second person the guy killed was pushing a AC unit onto someone, killing them. And I love the third one, because the third one was luckily stopped, but the guy was going to kill this one person that was allergic to bees by some killer African bees. And yes, bees popped up again. It's like bees are the pies. Supernatural, there's the pies. It's elementary. Nearly like every episode or every other episode, there's this something to do with bees. I was like, bees? What okay, let's go about bees? It's funny, they start off with the pilot episode, and like, it'll probably just be a one-time joke. They might use it every now and again. It's like, bees. I think, just in the season alone of Elementary, they've mentioned bees more times than they have pies in Supernatural. I mean, I talk about pancakes in Terminator: Sarah Connor Chronicles because that's the show I'm obsessed with. They only mention it a few times, but bees. It's great. All in all, it's a good episode. Elementary, a landmark story, good episode. Moran's death scene was the best scene in the episode. The using bees to kill someone, used the whole bee thing again while still making an interesting plot. And plus, there's hope we may yet see more of Mr. Moriarty and see who he is, or see how long the people in charge want to drag us along before we really get to know them. I have been Jashykins, owner at jashykins.blogspot.com. If you want to contact me for whatever reason, you can do so at Facebook at facebook.com/jashykins fan page, on Twitter at jashykins, on Tumblr, jashykins.tumblr.com, and if you're watching this on YouTube, subscribe, like, comment, yada 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 yada. And of course share, blah blah blah. If you're viewing this on my blog, thank you just for watching, comment below, share, and now that you're on my blog, I have a shitload of stuff to see, and read, and that'll be fun, and parties. I'm sorry, the parties thing, so never mind. And let's see, that's really it. Oh, if you're on Tumblr, like and reblog, of course. Please spread the good news of jashykins. And yes, I'm going to see about seeing the latest Hannibal episode tomorrow, and then hopefully getting a review of that episode out, because I'm really loving Hannibal. But all I've really been doing has been catch up. So all the episodes I've seen I haven't been able to review because it's been way too long since they aired. But yeah, that's probably going to be yet another one of my unhealthy television obsessions. I'll start, fangirling in those vlog reviews, so I'll end this one now before I can get too far. And until next video, goodbye.